When everybody thinks upsets, they think of the Giants beating the Patriots in the Super Bowl, or the Patriots coming back 28-3 in the Super Bowl against the Falcons. That is not what this video is about. Today, I'll be presenting you the top 9 biggest statistical upsets in NFL history based off of point spreads. At number 9, Week 15 2020 Steelers vs. Bills. A recent one that most of you might remember. This was the season the Steelers started 11-0, even though a lot of people never took that record seriously at the time. Pittsburgh entered the Monday Night Football game on a 2-game losing streak, but even with the losing streak and being away in Cincinnati, the betting books still had the Steelers at 14.5. This was primarily due to Joe Burrow being out for the season and Ryan Finley having to take over the quarterback position for the Bengals. The game was a disaster offensively for both teams. A combined 8 for 30 on third downs and 236 passing yards. Big Ben turned over the ball 3 times, and Juju Smith-Schuster had this iconic costly fumble that Bengals fans will forever remember. Gio Bernard's 2 touchdowns came up crucial, and the Bengals took a 27-17 win. Number 8, Week 13 1992 Colts vs. Bills. The Colts were abysmal this season and had already lost to the Bills earlier in Week 3 38-0, so you'd think the Bills being 16-point favorites would be reasonable, especially with the Colts being on a 4-game losing streak. It was a game of vital turnovers. Both quarterbacks had 2 each. The Bills actually led 13-3 in the fourth quarter, but after a Jim Kelly interception, the Colts had a game-tying kick thanks to Dean Biasucci. Biasucci made another kick in overtime to seal a 16-13 win for Indianapolis. The Bills came into the game as 16-point favorites, but couldn't even put up 16 points. Number 7. Week 9 2021 Jaguars vs. Bills. We saw a role reversal in this game for Josh Allen. He nearly won the MVP the season prior, but there was no reason why the Bills should have lost this game outright. The Bills entered 5-2, and the Jaguars were 1-6 coming off a disappointing road loss at Seattle. But Josh Allen had an awful game. 3 turnovers, took 4 sacks, 0 touchdowns, and the Bills had 12 penalties for 118 yards. In fact, no touchdowns were even scored in this game. For those of you who don't know, this was the infamous Josh Allen intercepting Josh Allen game. Matthew Wright knocked down 3 field goals to give the Jags a 9-6 win. The Bills were favored by 16 points, yet both teams failed to score 16 points combined. Number 6. Week 3 2018 Bills vs. Vikings. Taking it back a few years when Josh Allen was a youngster, going up against a surging Vikings team, the chances seemed unlikely, and it was the first professional success we saw from quarterback Josh Allen. Allen recorded 39 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 196 passing yards, and another touchdown to go along with it. Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins struggled and could not take care of the ball. Without star running back Dalvin Cook, the Minnesota offense was one-dimensional. We saw Buffalo come after Cousins and sack him 4 times. Minnesota came in as 16-point favorites, yet trailed 27-0 before scoring a garbage time touchdown to make the final score 27-6. Most Bills fans regard this game as the game that made them a Josh Allen believer. Number 5, Week 14 1992 Jets vs. Bills. This upset came a week after the Bills were upsetted by the Colts in overtime. Buffalo already beat the Jets earlier this year 24-20, and despite coming off a massive upset loss to the Colts, the betting books still had Buffalo favored by 17 points. The Bills turned over the ball 4 times, and future Hall of Famer quarterback Jim Kelly had 3 of them. 1 lost fumble and a pick 6, which would be the game-winning touchdown in the fourth quarter. Just like that, the Bills were the losers of 2 of the biggest upsets in NFL history in the span of 1 week. Number 4, Week 14 1995 Redskins vs. Cowboys. The Cowboys were America's team, and they were dominating the competition like no other. Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith were all world beaters for the recent 2-time Super Bowl champions in the 1990s. There wasn't much hope for Washington entering their divisional showdown. They were the losers of 4 games in a row and had allowed 24+ points in 3 of their 4 losses. The 3-9 Redskins were 17.5 underdogs against Dallas, even though they had beaten them earlier in Week 5 27-23. Dallas led 10-7 at the half, but 17 straight points from Washington was too much for the Cowboys to come back from. Final score 24-17. Number 3, Week 15 2020 Jets vs. Rams. The Jets came in at 0-13 under head coach Adam Gase. New York were among the worst offensive units in the league, 7 games with 10 points or fewer, 0-6 record on the road, an average road margin of defeat with 22 points per game, They failed to muster a single point against the Dolphins earlier in the season. There were plenty of reasons why the Rams were 17.5-point favorites. LA was trailing 13-3 at the half and really struggled to put points on the board. We saw Goff lead the Rams down into Jets territory, but they came up short on a 4th down attempt. Frank Gore punched in a 1-yard touchdown to give the Jets a 17-point lead, which was too much for the Rams to come back from, giving New York their first win of the season. Number 2. Week 17, 2019, Dolphins vs. Patriots. In the final week of the season, New England had a shot for a bye week heading into the playoffs. All they needed to do was beat a 4-11 Dolphins team. For Miami, this was their tank for 2 a year. Earlier in week 2, New England beat Miami 43-0. And considering the importance of this game for the Patriots, Vegas slapped them as 17.5-point favorites. But Ryan Fitzpatrick turned into Ryan Fitzmagic, 320 yards and finding tight end Mike Gesicki in the end zone with under 30 seconds remaining, giving the Dolphins a 27-24 victory. To this day, Fitzpatrick says it's his sweetest win against Tom Brady.
The last one was especially sweet because it was the tank for 2 a year. It was, start out 0-7. Is this the worst football team of all time? They beat us by 40-something points at the beginning of the season. They needed to beat us to get home field advantage, and it was his last regular season game as a Patriot. And we go and we score at the end of the game and beat them.
The next week, New England lost to Tennessee in the wildcard round in what would be Brady's last game as a Patriot. If the Patriots beat Miami and got a first-round bye, history could have changed. At number 1, and of course, it just had to be a Super Bowl. Super Bowl III, 1969, Jets vs. Colts. The Baltimore Colts only lost one regular season game and were 15-1 heading into the Super Bowl, led by Johnny Unitas. At the time, he was a 3-time NFL champion, 3-time MVP, 10-time Pro Bowler. He was nicknamed the Golden Arm for a reason, but that did not faze Joe Namath.
A fella in the back of the room said, Namath, we're going to kick your butt. And I said, wait a minute, I got news for you, buddy. We're going to win the game, I guarantee you.
We're going to win the game, I guarantee you.
Joe Namath, number 12, has been the one big sidelight. He's come down here and he says the Jets are going to win. In fact, he doesn't even predict it. He says, I guarantee a Jet victory.
But Namath has not been bashful this week. He's come down here to Miami, and he has said that the Jets are going to win. He doesn't even predict it. He says, I guarantee a Jet victory.
This was the 3rd AFL-NFL championship game and first game to bear the trademark name Super Bowl. Namath and the Jets led 7-0 at the half thanks to Matt Snell's rushing touchdown. Earl Morrall took over, and the Jets' defense capitalized, picking him off 3 times.
But they hit down the middle to Matty, intercepted by Jim Hudson.
Jim Turner nailed 3 field goals to put the Jets up 16-0. Baltimore got a touchdown in the 4th, but it was too little too late.
The New York Jets are the world champions.
The Jets won Super Bowl III as 18-point underdogs. Final score 16-7. This game is widely regarded as the game that helped merge the AFL and NFL, as the Jets became the first AFL team to win a Super Bowl. If you learned anything in this video, if the spreads are double digits, just take the dogs to cover.
I guarantee you.